I'm a 31-year-old guy, and I've been in a relationship with my soon-to-be ex-wife, who's 28, for 7 years. We were married for 5 of those years. We both had jobs that made us think kids weren't in our plans, but we had so many other amazing plans for our future. Throughout the 7 years we were together, we never had any disagreements about the direction we wanted to take or the goals we had for our future. So, back in February, my wife started a new job, and that's when she met this guy, her coworker, who's 38 years old. After her 2-week training, she came home, and I noticed that she was chatting a lot with this guy. I've never been a jealous person, and I understand that our industry is male-dominated, so she's often surrounded by guys. I always trusted her and never questioned her loyalty or boundaries. However, I couldn't help but notice that she was texting this guy a lot. In March, I brought it up twice, expressing my concerns, but she reassured me that he's just a friend and I shouldn't worry. They had common interests, like being Christians, and they chatted a lot about the Bible. I'm not religious. She even said that she would stop talking to him if I felt uncomfortable, but I knew they were going for training together again at the end of March. I realized it would be impossible to stop her from talking to him, so I didn't push the issue further. I always made sure to check in with my wife to see if she was happy in our marriage or if there was anything I could do to improve things. I never received any negative feedback from her, and even as recently as mid-March, she was telling me that I was the best thing that ever happened to her. However, things took a turn when she left for a month of job training in a different location at the end of March. In the first few days, everything seemed normal between us, but as the week progressed, we started to fight a lot. I'll admit, some of it was my fault because I was going through some personal stuff and was feeling quite emotional. But there was something else bothering me too. She seemed distant and expressed some strange ideas about the future that didn't sound like her at all. This made me feel uneasy because we used to hardly ever argue about anything. I can't even remember the last time we had a big fight before April. It's been a confusing and challenging time for both of us. I felt really bad about arguing with her because I knew how important it was for her. The main issue we were fighting about was her not maintaining clear boundaries with this guy from work, and it was obvious to me that he was interested in her romantically. Then she brought up the need for space and time to think about our relationship and our future. She assured me that she still loved me, but things weren't the same anymore. I was confused, but I respected her request for space because I didn't fully understand what was going on. After a couple of days, she dropped the bombshell of divorce during a FaceTime conversation. It was devastating, and at that moment, I still didn't have a clear grasp of the situation, but deep down, I had a gut feeling that she might be leaving with this other guy. It's been a roller coaster of emotions and uncertainty for me. When she finally returned home in mid-May, I went to the airport to pick her up. As soon as I saw her, something felt off. She didn't even give me a hug after not seeing each other for a month and a half. When we got home, she didn't bother unpacking her luggage. That first night, she looked me in the eyes and told me directly that she wanted a divorce and that she no longer loved me. It was incredibly tough and hurtful, but I was still holding on to the hope that maybe our arguments and my emotional ups and downs had contributed to her feelings, so I tried to work things out. But the very next day, she started acting differently. She claimed she wanted to clean the house and create nice memories for the last couple of days before she left. I sensed something wasn't right, and I felt like she was hiding things from me. So for the first time in 7 years, I went through her phone. There I discovered that even before she came back home, she was already in a relationship with that coworker guy, and they had even signed a lease to move in together. This was just a month and a half after she had left home at the end of March. She had told this guy that she was willing to give up everything to start anew with him. It was a devastating revelation, and it left me feeling even more hurt and confused. I still feel terrible to this day for going through her phone because it's something I had never done in our relationship before, and I felt like I had crossed a line. However, at that moment, I decided to take screenshots of her conversations with the coworker and acted like nothing happened, just to see how far she would go with all the lies she had been telling me. For the following days, I kept asking her questions about her and this coworker, but I never got any honest answers. Finally, that night when we were talking, I got really frustrated and angry, and I started pressing her for the truth. She turned it around and blamed me for my own issues, saying that's why we could never be together. Even during our heated arguments, she continued to lie. Eventually, she decided to leave that night, and as soon as she was gone, I sent her all the screenshots I had taken and told her that I already knew everything. I admitted that I was testing her to see how far she would go with her deception. She then claimed that they only started their relationship after she brought up divorce, so she argued that it wasn't cheating. She also said that she had been wanting out of the relationship for a long time, but was just waiting for the right moment, because she perceived me as controlling and abusive. Seeing her leave and knowing it might be the last time I see her was one of the hardest moments in my life. I kept asking her to be honest with me and show some respect for our marriage until the very end. She had been an amazing wife for 7 years, and it's tough for me to understand how she could change so drastically in such a short period of time. I'm still left with a lot of confusion and questions. After she moved out, I didn't waste any time and hired a lawyer to file for divorce. She didn't want any of the belongings I got her, the house, the cars, or any financial support. She just wanted to end things. It's not a decision I wanted to make, but I couldn't risk her changing her mind, so I went ahead with the divorce process. I already have the signed paperwork back, so it's in progress now. It's been a tough journey, but I'm trying to stay strong and move forward. I wanted to make sure she learned a valuable lesson before I walked away for good. What she did was hurtful, and I was feeling really upset. So I decided to act without causing any harm to my own character. I gathered all the screenshots of her conversations with her coworker and put them into a PDF. Then I sent it to their boss. My hope was that this would help them understand the consequences of their actions and treat others with more respect in the future. And just like that, the both of them got fired from the company, a perfect way to start their love story. Even though I'm still hurt by her cheating, I didn't want to stoop to her level and ruin my own reputation in the process. It's been 2 months since she told me she wanted a divorce, and I'm happy to say that I'm doing a lot better now. My soon-to-be ex has been trying to contact me begging for mercy. She told me she's been having trouble being able to find a job since, and the guy she moved in with is having second thoughts on breaking up with her since he lost his job because of her. If she thinks I will help her in any way, then she's absolutely nuts. During this time, I've been trying to focus on myself and work towards building a new life and becoming a better person. I understand that neither of us was perfect, nor our relationship had its flaws. But what hurt me the most was how quickly everything changed. In less than 2 months, she went from being in our marriage to being in a new relationship and now living together with this person. It's been hard to grasp how all the memories we shared, the things we built together, and the plans we had for the future could seemingly vanish overnight because of someone new in her life. However, I've come to realize that dwelling on the past won't help me move forward. Instead, I want to focus on the positive aspects of my life and the opportunities that lie ahead. I'm learning to accept that some things are beyond my control, and I'm determined to create a bright future for myself. I believe that as time goes on, I'll heal and new adventures and joys will come my way. OP, I am truly sorry to hear what you've been through. It must have been incredibly difficult to see your ex-wife drop everything for her coworker and leave your marriage behind. It's hard to believe how quickly things can change, especially when you had so many beautiful memories and plans together for the future. I can only imagine how hurtful and confusing this experience must have been for you. It's not easy to come to terms with such a drastic change in someone you once shared your life with. But now, it's essential to focus on healing and moving forward from the past. Remember that it's okay to feel upset and heartbroken, but don't let these emotions hold you back from embracing the future. Take the time you need to process everything, but also remember that you have the strength to build a new and fulfilling life for yourself. Surround yourself with supportive friends and family, engage in activities that bring you joy, and explore new opportunities. The healing process may take time, but as you move forward, you'll find that life has so much more in store for you. Take this as an opportunity to grow and discover new aspects of yourself. You deserve happiness and a bright future, and I truly hope you find it. Remember, you are not defined by your past, and you have the power to create a beautiful and fulfilling life ahead. Wishing you all the best on your journey of healing and moving on. Now let's get into our second story for today. So, before my girlfriend, 31 female, and I, 28 male, officially started dating, we were actually best friends for a good 10 years. We were part of the same friend group and practically spent every single weekend together, and even more than that. However, we never dated initially because she used to be in a relationship with one of my best friends when they were younger, and I thought it wouldn't be a good idea to pursue anything back then. Fast forward a few years, she broke up with my best friend and began dating someone else, while I also got into my own relationship. Eventually, both of our relationships ended about 2.5 years ago, and that's when things got a bit complicated. We supported each other through our breakups and ended up hooking up after spending time together. As time passed, I developed stronger feelings for her and decided to take the plunge and ask her out on a proper date. However, she wasn't sure if she was ready for a new relationship, despite telling me she had cut off all contact with her ex-boyfriend. I must admit I got a bit persistent and eventually convinced her to give it a shot, and that's how we officially started dating. In the beginning of our dating, I had a conversation with my girlfriend about her ex-boyfriend. I wanted her to know that I was okay with her being friends with him if she wanted to, as long as she was open and honest about it. I understood that they had spent a significant part of their 20s together, lived together, and had plans to get married. So, I asked her to let me know if they ever reconnected in a significant way. I also suggested that she inform him about our relationship, so there would be no confusion and their interaction would remain platonic. After a couple of months, I discovered that she was texting her ex, and this bothered me. We had a serious conversation about it, and she admitted that she didn't tell me because she wasn't sure why she did it either. I told her that I valued honesty and asked her to be truthful with me. If it was innocent texting, I assured her that I could forgive her. To resolve the issue, I asked her to text him right then and there to let him know about our relationship. We managed to make up after that incident, but the problem was that her ex would still come up in conversations occasionally. Even when she was drunk, she would admit to missing him and feeling like he hated her because he never responded. I began to feel guilty, thinking I might have handled the situation poorly by cutting her off from someone in an unhealthy way. A few days ago, something happened that made me suspicious about my girlfriend's behavior, and it had been bothering me for a while. She was always very protective of her phone, and whenever I needed to use it for something simple like directions, she would get defensive. So, when she fell asleep while we were both drunk, I made a regrettable decision to go through her phone. To my shock, I discovered that she had been living a double life behind my back. She was seeing her ex-boyfriend regularly, even on days when she wouldn't meet me. He knew all the things about her life that she had kept hidden from me, and I was completely in the dark about their relationship too. The situation had become so convoluted that he believed she was living with her mom, but she was actually living in an apartment with her sister, where I would often see her. Her sister, who I was also close friends with, was aware of everything that was going on, and to some extent, even her mom knew about it. The lies she told were constant, detailed, and carefully planned, deceiving both me and the other guy. It was a shocking revelation and left me feeling betrayed and hurt. Once I found out, I made her confront, and everything had just blown up after that. It was a difficult conversation, and things quickly got out of hand. The revelation shocked our entire friend group, leaving everyone in disbelief and causing chaos among us. To add to the mess, her sister advised her to cut me off, while my friends suggested I do the same to her. As I confronted her, she tried to beg and plead for me to stay, claiming she didn't want to lose me. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal and hurt. It's hard to fathom that the person I knew and loved for over 10 years could be capable of such deceit and lies. I mean, how could someone carry on with this charade, fooling me and leading a secret life for so long? It's like my reality has been shattered, and I'm struggling to make sense of it all. I trusted her completely, and now I question everything about our relationship. The fact that she could lie consistently, day in and day out, makes me wonder if I ever really knew her at all. As time went on, news of my ex-girlfriend's actions reached the so-called ex-boyfriend she had been seeing while we were still together. He was totally shocked and hurt when he found out about her deceit and the web of lies she had woven to keep both relationships going. He had genuinely been trying to rekindle their old romance, thinking she was single and living with her mom. He had no clue she was with me, living in a completely different place. When he confronted her about the situation, it turned into a heated argument, and he called her a gold digger and good-for-nothing cheater, and he too left. She lost not one but two relationships because she was being too immature. But it didn't stop there. Karma seemed to catch up with my ex-girlfriend in the following days. Her double life started to fall apart, and the truth came out. Her lies and betrayal not only destroyed our relationships, but also shattered the trust within our friend group. People were understandably upset and disappointed, feeling like they had been deceived too. As the truth became public knowledge, many people distanced themselves from her. Her deceit had a profound impact, and it was tough for people to trust her again. The charm that once drew people to her now worked against her, as they realized it had often been a facade hiding her true intentions. The process of moving on was gradual, but I surrounded myself with loved ones who reminded me of my worth and helped me see a brighter future ahead. Surprisingly, I haven't heard from my ex-girlfriend since the confrontation. It was as if she vanished from my life, and I must admit, it brought a sense of relief. I was able to distance myself from the pain and confusion, and it allowed me to focus on rebuilding my life. Not only did I distance myself from her, but my friends also chose to cut ties with her. It was a difficult choice for them too, but they stood by my side and supported my decision to move forward. Having them as a solid support system during this tough time made a world of difference. As I reflect on the past and the lessons learned, I realize that I deserve someone who values honesty, trust, and respect as much as I do. Going through this experience helped me grow as an individual and understand what I truly want in a partner. It taught me that it's crucial to set boundaries and prioritize my own well-being. Now I can confidently say that I am in a better place emotionally and mentally. I've been focusing on my personal growth, pursuing my passions, and meeting new people who bring positivity into my life. While the healing process took time, I am grateful for the strength it gave me to move forward. Though the experience was challenging, it ultimately led me to a happier and healthier state of mind. I've learned to value myself and trust my instincts. Today, I am more hopeful about the future and open to the possibility of finding someone who will cherish and respect me for who I am. OP, it's truly disheartening to think that someone who was your best friend for a whole decade could still betray your trust like that. I can't imagine how hurt and betrayed you must have felt when you discovered the truth about her double life, but I'm glad to see that you found the strength to move on and prioritize your own well-being. You absolutely deserve better than someone who would deceive you and lead a secret life behind your back. It's incredible to see how you've grown through this challenging experience. It takes a lot of courage to step away from a long-term relationship and focus on healing yourself. I admire your resilience and your willingness to surround yourself with supportive friends who have your back. Thank you all for taking the time to listen to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please feel free to like and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, comment below with your thoughts on what happened.